Hello and welcome to the historic French Field House at the Ohio State University, where we are live ahead of this weekend's even Elite International. 10 college teams are raring to go, and over the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to preview all of the action. Now, the Ohio State University hosted the first ever fencing NCAA championships, but we're going to make history this weekend with unprecedented coverage at the start of the season. Now, for those of you who don't know about it, the NCAA, otherwise known as the National Collegiate Athletic Association, is split into three divisions featuring 20 sporting disciplines and boasts a roster of over an amazing 500,000 student athletes. I'm Karen Bashir, and joining me, two-time USA Olympic team captain, who's also a two-time Olympic referee, now commentator, Jeff Bucant, and the incredible former president of the USA Fencing Association, now head coach at the Ohio State University, right here, Don Anthony. Don, I'm going to start with you. And let's begin by talking about the NCAA fencing. For those of us that are new to this exciting version of the sport, what do we need to know?
Well, first of all, NCAA fencing, as you just said, it's been around for a very long time. At this point in time in the development, it is representative of some of the best athletes in the world, literally either currently competing or soon to be the best. We have on our team at least 12 different countries represented, and in many different universities. It's a very, very well represented international population, as well as the best of the U.S. And knowing that U.S. fencing is a top competitor internationally, I think what you also want to know is that these are student athletes that come here to get an education, but as we always say, they're student athletes. And that's really what's important. And we also know that we have individuals who've competed who've gone on to very, very high levels of international competition. I don't know if you want me to mention them here, because I can. Or
We'll
do
come
you
on to
want
we'll
do
come
that?
on to that, Don. We'll come on to that, Don. Let's get the history out of the way early on. The fencing in the NCAA started in 1941. 44 women's teams now compete. 35 men's teams. Go the girls. That's fantastic stuff. More women's teams out there at the moment. There are up to 11 events or 11 meets per season, culminating in the national championships, where university titles for the country can be won. And those competitions are held over 4 days. And it's amazing that we are here at the home of the Ohio State University that held the very first nationals back in 1941. And Don, you held the Nationals last year as well. What was that like? A prelude to this event, perhaps?
Well, 2024 was a big NCAA championships. I won't necessarily a prelude because that is really a much bigger competition, but this is like the elite early competition to get teams who are at that highest level prepared for the NCAA championships, which this year will be at the legendary Notre Dame out in South Bend, Indiana. Last year they were at Penn State, historic programs in their own right. So I would say that this is a prelude, but it's also a much smaller competition. Only 2 days. And the NCAA championships is long, and in my opinion, it's the hardest championship in the world.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. And as you say, the state of collegiate fencing and collegiate sport in the United States is such a high level that you attract so many internationals to come into the field. So, Jeff, first off, congratulations. That's the quietest that you've ever been in the 10 odd years that I've known you. You've been silent. It's incredible. Look, there are 10 teams competing here. That's a lot of fencing and a lot of fencers. But I know you've had a little look through the rosters of the 10 teams. Who are the fencers that we should be keeping an eye out for?
Well, there's a lot of them. I just want to say that there's nothing like collegiate fencing. I've been on the piste at local tournaments, national tournaments, Olympics. There's nothing like the unbridled enthusiasm and team spirit in these events. And it's tremendous when you add to the fact the type of athletes we're going to be seeing this weekend. For instance, we'll be seeing Esther Mohari of Notre Dame. She was the 2024 champ. She competed in Paris where she took bronze. Hadley Hussisian of Princeton competed in Paris. She took bronze here last year, and she's ranked fifth in the world. It's quite amazing. In men's épée, we'll be seeing Henry Lawson of Harvard. He was a silver medalist. Mahmoud El Sayed of Wayne State. He was the bronze medalist. We'll also be seeing in women's foil Jessica Guo of Harvard, who competed in Paris, and also from Princeton, Maya Weintraub, who, by the way, won a gold medal in the team event for the United States. She was out with an injury most of last year, but I think she's back on the piste. In men's foil, we'll be seeing Chase Emmer of Notre Dame. He was the 2024 champ. Andrew Chen of Harvard took silver. Cruz Shembri, who's a freshman at Notre Dame, competed in Paris representing the Virgin Islands in the men's foil event. Women's foil, we'll be seeing Magda Skarbankiewicz of Notre Dame, who was competed in Paris and also was the defending champion. Soban Sullivan of Notre Dame took silver. Ohio State's Natalia Botello took the bronze. How about that, Don?
Hey,
we're looking for more this year,
Bucks.
aren't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And in the men's saber, we'll be seeing Nitu Radu of Notre Dame, who took silver, and Ahmed Hashem of Notre Dame, who took the bronze last year, as well as Colin Heathcock of Harvard, who's fifth ranked in the FIE standings and was also in Paris 2 years ago. It's quite a loaded group.
Yeah, it really is. And there's a few names in there that you mentioned that just make me think, oh, wow, that's incredible. I mean, Jessica potentially could have been the youngest ever fencing Olympian. Missed out on that because of that time that we all spent at home. And you talked about all those Olympians in there as well. Cruz Chambry as well. Now he's an interesting character because he competed at the Olympic Games in men's foil, but he's actually a men's épéiste, but
That's
managed
true.
to qualify. Look, that's certainly some pedigree. Don, Jeff mentioned the fencers that competed at Paris 2024 in those Olympic Games. And some of those fencers medaled at those games. There's a big connection between the NCAA and the Olympic Games. Can you tell us a little bit about that heritage?
I've always said, especially, in my other role with the FIE, they ask, what is this all about? And I think that the NCAA program is really especially for U.S. fencing, is really a pipeline. We bring so many athletes in. You mentioned all of the Olympians or former Olympians and future Olympians that will be competing. One of the things that I just started looking at is how many junior and cadet world champions do we have competing in this event? Medalists who are competing. I mean, when you start going there, you mentioned Mahmoud El Sayed. He's going to be recognized at the Congress of the FIE for winning the junior worlds this year. So you've just got so many different talented athletes, and I think I think a lot of the countries are now realizing that this is a way for their athletes to also continue to develop their professional from a fencing standpoint, and also develop from the fact that they get to have that academic training. And I think the best example of how you can balance this is when we look at the 2024 Olympics, and you had some athletes that decided that they were going to take that year off from college to train. And then you had Lauren Scruggs, who was like, no, I'm going to stay in school because I need the distraction while I'm training to go win a silver medal in Paris and a gold medal in the team. So you have that kind of balance between how all the athletes and the federations work together with this opportunity for these young people.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, actually, because during my research for this, and this is first NCAA event that I've called of any note, or I will be calling. On my research, I was looking through some of the stats and some of the philosophies of the universities that are competing here this weekend. And Lauren Scruggs is looking at it one way, saying, "I need the distraction," but some of the colleges are saying, "Do you know what? We need our students to actually have something else in their lives other than." Academic achievement, that we want them to achieve, but we think that they can achieve more by having the balance of having a distraction. And sport has become such a big thing, which is why I think, as an outsider looking in, why college sport is so massive in the United States of America. Let's go through some stats. Over 1,000 NCAA students competed at the last Olympic Games. 41 of those were fencers. Between those 41, they claimed 10 medals at the Paris Games. Lee Keefe has got to be the shining light there from Notre Dame, as you guys call it. She defended the individual title she'd won in Tokyo 4 years previously, or 3 years previously, and led the USA to an historic first ever women's team foil title. The Ohio State University, as Donald has been prepping me before this live coverage, the Ohio State University boasted also the silver medalist in that event, Canada's Eleanor Harvey, and the men's foil bronze medalist, Maximilien Chastanet from France. And I'm going to say up to, because we haven't got the confirmed rosters yet, of those fencers will be competing here this weekend. If you don't have any other reason to watch, that is one of them. 8 Olympic medalists potentially competing this weekend. Let's move on to the event itself, Don. Now, you've been busy setting this whole thing up, and I know you said it's smaller than what you had last year, but a lot of work goes on behind the scenes, and I think it's an opportunity in a feature like this to recognize those people that actually make this event happen. So tell us a little bit about it. How many pieces, how many matches are we going to have over the weekend? What's gone into the setup, and who's involved?
So, when I say it's smaller, it's definitely smaller than the NCAA championships, just like a Grand Prix or a World Cup is smaller than an Olympics, because that's the sort of the equation. But it's a big competition. We have 26 pieces out, and what's also very different about this competition than others is that we're doing what we're doing now. We're actually covering it at a high level with commentators, which doesn't usually happen for dual meet competition. So each of these schools, and Jeffrey mentioned the fact of how exciting this is, but the collegiate format is very different than from team competition than the normal relay competition. It's 9 spots. You go 3, 3, 3. The first one as a team that gets to 14 wins. So it's extremely exciting from that standpoint. And then you also have the squad competitions as well, in each gender and in each weapon. Now, when it comes to the setup, I am very fortunate to be part of one of the most amazing athletic departments in the world, with some of the best facilities and the facilities staff. So yesterday they started putting down the piece, they started dressing the venue, and this is really the home of track and field. I'm actually in the track and field's team lounge right now, which is another very nice place. But we have, facilities people. We have the original staff. We've got our event staff in here. We've got our marketing staff that's helping us market this. We've got our fan experience crew that's trying to make sure give them a real good audience experience. I've got audio. So we've got all of these. Oh, and I forgot about technology, the tech guys who come in to make sure that we can connect. So all of those people are preparing as we go along, and then over these next 2 days they'll be here. And let me not forget our sports information director, our SID, Leanne Parker, who makes sure that scores are kept, bios are kept, so that everybody knows what this event was like.
Yeah, I mean, there's an incredible lot that goes behind the scenes. I suppose one little question for you, Don, and a personal one in terms of the college, the university, or the varsity, however you want to describe it. What does it mean to the Ohio State University to hold an event like this in a sport that us three we love, and probably most of the people watching love? But what does it mean to you personally, as someone who's been so invested in fencing for such a long time, to have this event at the place where you're the head coach?
Well, it's for me. It's important. This event actually goes between Ohio State and the University of Pennsylvania. It goes back and forth each year. Another reason why I wanted to make this year as special as possible to elevate the coverage of NCAA fencing, and thank you guys for participating in that endeavor. And it also is important from my standpoint is, of course, the big sport at Ohio State is football. We are national champions, and it is the biggest revenue generating sport here. But no matter whether I'm the biggest sport bringing the most revenue, I get the kind of support that you just don't get at other institutions. I consider myself very fortunate and extremely blessed to have the support. So what I want to do is make sure that we give the opportunity for the student athletes to be able to shine. In the world of NCAA sports, there's the NIL, name, image, and likeness, is a big part of how student athletes will be able to get additional money, the money they need to be able to pay for their education. And the more exposure we give them, the more likely they are to attract commercial opportunities while they're in college. So these are the kinds of things that happen. And for me personally, to be able to showcase my team and my venue, along with all the other great programs, we have amazing programs here. I feel very honored to host them. As I said, we have 8 of the top 10 programs from last year's NCAAs here, and I'm really looking forward to giving them the experience that they deserve from the standpoint of having a great place to compete and also being able to show what they're doing and how their programs are being focused on and developed, and how great all of my colleagues are doing around the country.
Preaching to the choir, Don, the NIL changes in the NCAA under the new president are affording new opportunities or better opportunities to college athletes, which is a massive thing. I think for all three of us, it's a big personal mission to ensure that athletes get the biggest and best opportunity for showcasing. Enough of the seriousness, though. Jeff, look, it sounds like Don's been busy, so let's give him a little rest. And again, well done for keeping your mouth shut for what that was at least 4 or 5 minutes this time.
Not easy.
Hey, Carl, he'll make up for it tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Maybe tomorrow I'm just going to let you talk, and I'll give you the silent treatment all day, too.
Oh, really? That's what you're doing now. It's the silent treatment. I get it. Okay, fair enough. Listen, don't give me the silent treatment now, because I need to ask you about what we can expect to see in terms of the format of the competition over the next couple of days. So we've been looking into it. I'm completely confused. Have you worked it out yet?
Well, there's going to be 6 rounds the first day and 5 the second, correct, Don?
Yes.
Yes, 6 rounds, and we're going to be basically featuring Ohio State, right, in each round. And the way it works on the piece, we have 5 pieces for the match, the men's and women's match. On the piece that we'll be watching, it'll be the saber, both the men and women, because those saber bouts go quickly. We're going to see all 18 bouts on the main strip. And then they'll have the men's foil and the women's foil on each dedicated strip, same as well with the epee. Don, I have a question for you. They run it differently at different tournaments. When you do the saber this weekend, is it going to be 3 men, 3 women, or are you going to do 9 and 9?
We're going to do 9 and 9, mainly because, and 3 women that's the Ivy format, and we appreciate and respect it. But because we'll probably have different teams competing on there, the plan is to go 9 and 9. Now, if one of the Ivies really asks us to do that, we can possibly we can accommodate that. But the plan is to go 9 and 9.
Not 9 and 9.
Yeah,
And
men
one of
first, usually women first, men second.
one of the things you mentioned, Karen, about how many men's teams and women's teams, there's been a sea change this year in the NCAA. I go back a long way. I ref my first NCAA's in 1978, so I've seen all the different changes over the years. But the biggest one was a lot of teams had been falling out, and because there weren't enough teams, the NCAA, if you don't have a minimum number of schools, you're going to be out of the NCAA. So at that point, the schools decided to combine a men's and women's championship in order to remain viable, and that meant teams that only had women's team, like a Northwestern or a Temple or now like Cornell, they had no chance to win. They could do very well in the women, but they didn't have a men's team. But finally, they went back this year to separating the championship. Is that correct, Don?
That is absolutely correct. First year, historic.
Yeah, so that's really good for teams like Northwestern, who've always been competitive, and Temple to some extent, Cornell certainly, where they have a chance to win a championship again. One of the things that Karen, I neglected, there was another Olympian here. I forgot. Mohammed Yassin of Penn State competed in Paris. And one of the things I've neglected to talk about, we talk about fencers to watch. There's a freshman who's coming into Duke, Abdelrahman Tolba. He's even a freshman. He's ranked 8th in the world as a freshman, and you just have no idea what's going to happen. Is he going to dominate? It'd be very interesting to see how a newcomer does at the NCAA level, because it's not the same as competing at a World Cup or a Grand Prix of the Olympics in a 15-touch bout. Here they're 5-touch bouts, and it's a whole different mindset that you would have in a 15-touch bout, where you might take time off and give a couple touches away. You can't do that in a 5-touch bout.
Jeff, I'll tell you what, you said one thing there that hit the nail on the head. You have absolutely no idea what's going on when you've got Jeff Buchanan as a guest. I asked you about the format for the competition, and you've gone back to the very first question I asked you. But that's fine. That's fine. We're just, it's just,
I forgot something.
It's a free for all. Let me give you guys the format for the competition. We're featuring the 5 pieces in the main venue, but there are a whole load of other strips. I'm supposed to call them strips. I'm going to use
Peace strips. We know
USA,
it. We know what it
yeah,
is.
I know, but I'm in your territory. I'm going to call them strips. But we've got 5 pieces and 5 strips where we have the cameras, and we're going to focus on the saber side of things. This is a warm-up event for the season. Fall is when the NCAA season starts, but there are points available, ranking points available to the individuals. So it will affect the individuals, how they perform. But the big thing here, I think, within collegiate sport is not only the camaraderie, but the fact that we see great camaraderie in a friendly, fighting rivalry spirit venue, and that is what we're looking forward to this weekend. And we're looking forward to seeing lots of surprises. So Jeff mentioning Tolba, who is the number 8 in the world, could spring a surprise from a university team that perhaps wouldn't be as strong without him. But before we let you guys carry on with your prep for tomorrow. We have got this historic moment again. We're talking about history all the time. The Ohio State University are going to be putting forward a broadcast that's never been seen before. This preview show, for example, is something absolutely brand new. Don, you've championed this broadcast, and I know that you and I have talked over the last 10, 15 years about how to bring fencing to the fore and perhaps showcasing parts of fencing that we've never seen before. This is our chance. This is your chance, and you have smashed through the brick wall. It only seems fair for you to tell us about the coverage that's going to happen this weekend.
So, first of all, thank you guys for being part of that coverage. What we really wanted to do is, and in many ways, we hope that this will be a prototype for how other events can cover collegiate fencing. We know that other collegiate sports, especially if you look at the large sports, football, basketball, March Madness, championship football, they are covered. After the NFL, college football is the next most watched sport in this country. So I want to do what we can to highlight how exciting fencing is with the top athletes, and also we want to increase the production value. You know, we are just happy to have had the support. But in previous events, we have been streaming on iPads. So we're going to elevate that up significantly. And it was just a dead stream. So now we want to give both the audience that's here as well as our viewing audience. We're really fortunate that the FIE is going to put this on fencingtv.com, which is a huge, I mean, it's a new platform, it's a new vehicle. They want to cover fencing, we're going to give them something to cover. So this is really what I hope is going to be the next phase of the promotion of our sport. And as you said, we've been at this a very long time, and I feel like the time is finally here. We're going to try to get, next one we'll have more slow motion, we'll have higher production, but this is sort of that first phase of putting your toe in the water and showing what can be done.
Don, congratulations. I think it's absolutely magical, and you know what I feel about this. I don't need to say any more, but I think you've done a great job to get this going. Just to remind everyone, just to be really clear, let's have a nice, clear call to action. Where can people watch this weekend's coverage?
So first, internationally, fencingtv.com, and then on Ohio State Fencing's media channels, on the YouTube channel there will be. And what we will do is we will have this main show where you guys are, but we'll also be running ISO cams on each individual strip, so that people can see that. And then when we will also be able to go to some of the other pieces. There's one piece right behind us, 5 strips, where we'll be able to showcase some of the schools that aren't competing against us at that time. We want to give as much exposure, but we only have so much production, so we're going to try to share the wealth as much as possible.
Brilliant stuff. Jeff, sorry, John, I'm going to go last question with you, for you first. I'm going to ask you to take off your broadcast extraordinaire, coverage extraordinaire hat and tell me about your team. Head coach of the Ohio State University, what are your expectations this weekend for the home team?
Oh, so I'm going into my 8th season, which is hard for me to believe. And as I will say, a team that has really gelled from a camaraderie standpoint, the best team I've ever had. I've got some really good athletes. They have been working and training so hard, but there are also a lot of young ones. But you know, as we say in Ohio State athletics, we don't ever have a rebuilding year. We just have a year where we have young athletes. So I'm expecting them to come out, perform at the level that they've been training. And, you know, we're competing against the best teams. It's early in the season. It's an opportunity to see where we have to work on and also how good we've already become. So I expect good results, and one way or the other, I expect a lot of good fencing.
Well, best of luck to you and your team. Best of luck to all the teams that are competing this weekend.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a fantastic weekend of sport. Jeff, we've got about 27 minutes to fill, so over to you. No, joking. Your final thoughts ahead of this weekend? I mean, it is historic. You've been involved in the coverage of fencing for a very, very long time, working for NBC at the Olympic Games, working for OBS at the Olympic Games, and working for the FIE over the last few years. We're going to see something different here. How excited are you about covering the coverage?
Well, it's sort of like a dream come true because I love college fencing more than anything. When I book my schedule at the beginning of the year, I have red letter days for these college meets. I can't wait for them. It's like a kid in a candy shop. And the fact that we're finally broadcasting it and I'm part of it, it's a very cool event for me too.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you to you, Don, as well. Well, look, we hope that's got you hungry for this weekend's action. Thanks to all of you for watching. Join Jeff and myself tomorrow for all of the action from the strips. We are going to be focused on Sabre for the beginning of most matches, but hopefully we'll show you some epee and foil as well. So see you bright and early. We're starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. But until then, bye for now.